How did we get here? And even worse, is it worth it? At the cost of being at war with your neighbors? That's why I'm running for mayor.
When it was announced that Ari Aster was making a movie about the pandemic, I was a bit skeptical. After Beau is Afraid, it seemed like he was doubling down on fucking with his audience instead of just entertaining them. But despite its polarizing subject matter, Eddington is a surprisingly fun watch. It's essentially a COVID-era western about an anti-masker sheriff running for mayor in his dusty New Mexico town and facing backlash from protesters, the opposition, and even his own wife. It's a long, slow-paced movie like Beau, but unlike with Beau, I wasn't bored for a second. Aster really knows how to create an atmosphere and build tension, and he puts those skills to good use in Eddington. This is a time capsule of the shittiest period in recent memory. It's a crime thriller whose No Country style action sequences will take your breath away, and it's a furious indictment of the extremes on both sides of the political fence. But it's also Aster's funniest film to date.
We need to free each other's hearts.
I thought Hereditary was an all-time horror masterpiece on par with Rosemary's Baby and The Shining, and Midsommar, while it was a bit too long and a bit too gratuitous in places, was a great reinvention of the folk horror film that used cultist indoctrination as a metaphor for a toxic relationship. But Beau is Afraid really pissed me off. It was esoteric and alienating and up its own arse. For the first hour or so, I thought it was an ingenious representation of anxiety, realizing all the horrible worst-case scenarios this poor guy can imagine. But then it lost the plot and devolved into indulgent nonsense over the next 2 hours. When Aster announced his fourth film to be a COVID western, I expected that indulgence to continue. But unlike Beau is Afraid, Eddington is actually a good time. I'm not going to say it's a crowd pleaser. No movie that deals with topics this controversial can be a crowd pleaser. But I am going to say that it does succeed as a western. It's not just a movie set in the desert calling itself a western. It has everything you could want from the genre. A posse of outlaws coming after the sheriff, the chilling intensity of No Country for Old Men, and a climactic shootout that'll have you clinging to the edge of your seat. The whole film gave me Bad Day at Black Rock vibes, an eerie desert town in the middle of nowhere full of dark secrets. The film is set in 2020, but it's not really about the pandemic. It takes place against a backdrop of lockdowns and doom-scrolling and George Floyd protests, but that's all there to place this darkly comic thriller in a particularly fraught and violent climate. 5 years later, I thought this commentary would feel outdated, but we've never recovered from the social and political divisions created by the pandemic. The economy is still in the toilet, humanity still hasn't bounced back, and everyone is still really angry. If not for the mask mandates and roadside COVID testing sites, Eddington could take place today.
Look, Joe, 6 feet.
Get back, 6 feet, ma'am. 6 fucking feet.
Aster is one of those directors that every actor in Hollywood wants to work with, and he used that to assemble a terrific cast. Emma Stone gives a brilliantly understated turn as the sheriff's unhappy wife, saying more with a subtle look than she could with 100 lines of dialogue, and Austin Butler was a great choice to play the charismatic local cult leader. The Penguin's Deirdre O'Connell plays another dysfunctional matriarch, but this time with a more comedic bent, as the sheriff's live-in mother-in-law, who's been brainwashed by a steady stream of conspiracy podcasts and Fox News. Pedro Pascal gives another irresistible turn as Eddington's mayor, Ted Garcia, who puts on an affable facade on the re-election campaign trail but is actually a miserable prick behind closed doors. But as great as the supporting players are, this is Joaquin Phoenix's movie, and he carries it on his shoulders. One of the things I did like about Beau is Afraid was that Phoenix played every scene with steadfast commitment, no matter how absurd it was, which allowed the comedy to shine through. And that commitment to the bit is even more effective in Eddington. Phoenix is playing a schlubby legacy sheriff who doesn't have the respect of his community, the common sense to follow COVID protocols, or a solid handle on his temper. And Phoenix plays every goofy thing this guy does with the same nuance and wholeheartedness he'd bring to a more dramatic role. And he succeeds in endearing you to the character. The film makes it clear that Joe Cross isn't as good of a person as he thinks he is. I couldn't help but feel sorry for him and even root for him. It's my favourite Joaquin performance since You Were Never Really Here.
Who are you talking to? There's nobody here.
Eddington definitely won't be everyone's cup of tea, and not just because of the political issues it deals with. It has a pitch-black sense of humour, it's in no hurry to get through its story, and after the thrilling climax, it has a really bizarre last few minutes. But I loved it. It's tense, it's engaging, it's grimly hilarious, it captures everything that made the pandemic era so absurd, and Sheriff Joe is a character I really enjoyed following. For my money, this is Ari Aster's best film since Hereditary. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video. Remember to like and subscribe and click on the little bell. And also seize the day and call your mom and be kind to yourself.